This is Creative Guidelines, Angel Messages. Let us have a quiet time and tune in with the angels and give them a chance to tune in with us. And as we relax the body, let's still the mind and think of those beautiful beings of light that are God's angels and His messengers that come to bring His word of truth and do their best to bring it into our language that is very limited. Let's fill the center to overflowing with divine love and think of ourselves as a channel for divine love, and see this circle of light brighter and brighter with all those individuals who come from other dimensions in the balcony section and the teachers and guides that are around us and the angel beings that bring our message. My dear ones, it is the one you were expecting, and it is nice to be called an angel because angels are involved with your somatics and your language, and everyone has a different concept of what this is and what that is. And as you are going to maybe advertise as you do on your physical plane or send the word out, maybe the word angel messages is a better way of putting it, because it is the angels of God that do come to you to bring their message of divine love and His word of truth. We love you so dearly. Could you but know just a little of how much we love you, and we cherish those who are steadfast in their upward growth, like you in the circle of light in the physical, and those in the balcony who are learning very much. They are growing your balcony section from other dimensions that you know of. That they're not involved with time or space, so we can fit a lot of individuals in your center here from other dimensions, and they shine when they come and feel God's divine love that fills the center, and your love is a circle of light. The beauty of being alive is being grateful for life. Have you ever thought to say thank you, Father, for life? Thank you, Father, for the life that you've given me, the life that I am, you are. Let us think of this class tonight on gratitude for life, for it is such a beautiful, beautiful experience when you rise above the turmoil of the plane, the physical plane, and you who are learning and growing are rising above it, just as the article you read. You live in your consciousness, my dear ones. This is where you truly live, and as you change your thinking patterns, as you change your concepts and thoughts about yourself and about life, about others, as you learn to love yourself, then it's much easier to accept what goes on this play you call the earth plane. It is just a play on a stage, not your ones. When you remember this, then it is much easier to not be emotionally disturbed or frustrated with life as you see it in your outer world. Then as you grow into greater understanding, you can see the outer world and others and what they're doing, yet run it through a sift, you might say, of understanding that everyone is doing the best they can at the moment, with the understanding, with the programming that's in their mind, and where they're coming from. This includes you. You are learning to see more clearly, though, through the eyes of spirit, through the eyes of truth with a capital T, knowing that this is just a play, and it doesn't really matter what scene this is and what's going on in this scene. It's just a play, and you're playing your part, and others are playing their part, and you're growing through playing your part. And yes, the physical and the spiritual are all one. There is no argument about this. It is just a matter of semantics. This is true, for there is no place that God is not. And God is life, and God is the spiritual being that life is. And you are different expressions of this being that has created us out of himself, giving us life, giving us a consciousness, lending us the consciousness that he is, as much as we can accept it from where we are coming from at the level of consciousness that we are. You see, my dear ones, you have the whole consciousness of God that God is. And before you left his house, you were completely one with him, even in his thoughts. And you were one with his whole consciousness. And as you decided to play the games and to go through all these experiences and come down through the many dimensions, you lost sight of the true reality of your being. And now a few of you are on your way back, and others are following along. I tell you, you who are growing and who are expanding your consciousness are making footsteps in the sand for others to follow. For I tell you, each thought, feeling, mood, attitude, desire, whatever, all come under the heading of thought, the creative force. Each one that you have makes an impression on the ethers for those who come after you. And when one of these individuals of the world who decides to awaken a little bit, then that footprint is there for them to step in. That little bit of understanding is there, even on an unconscious level. And soon they're led to a book or to an individual or to a class where they can look at it and the light shines in their minds, in their consciousness, for you have lighted the way before them. The master teacher said, I am the light unto the world. You, my dear ones, also are the light unto the world. You are the light that you shine brightly and for others to follow when they are ready, when they decide that it is time that they are through playing the games of the physical plane and they want much more. And there are many, many on your planet now who are beginning to awaken. They do not know it as yet, but we see this in their aura, we see this in their minds and in their souls, that there's a little speck of light that is getting brighter. And you see, as it gets bright enough, then they have that urge to take some action, to do something different. And their teachers and guides help them along as they open up. For when they have a desire for something different in a way that's giving their freedom for guidance, for that desire is reaching out for something more. And even though it is not verbalized, it is asking for help. And the light that you have left behind is there for them to step into. Be grateful for the life that God is and that He has given you Himself and His life, for you are life and the whole of life, not just part of it, my dear ones. You do not have this realization as yet, but you are growing into it, and you are moving forward each day, each moment. Those of you who do their grow work at home, who come to class as often as they can, often as they think they can, I should say, and who remember to send divine love, you are moving forward at a steady pace. And I tell you, you are on your way to keeping up with the pace of the growth of the planet, as one of you have mentioned before class. I always eavesdrop a little bit before you start your angel messages, and look at you and see your light shining and your love and your questions within your minds, and moving to try to understand through your language the real truth. Be not discouraged because of the language or semantics, but know that love, divine love, is the key to all things. And there is gifts. There is but one life, whether you call it physical or spiritual or some degree in between. God is everywhere present. There is no place that God is not. And God is life, and you are one with God. So you are one with life, all of life. There is no division. And as you learn to do your thing in the world, the role that you're playing, but keep alive your spiritual awareness while you're doing it. This is the thing that moves you forward in consciousness more than anything else, is going ahead with your physical activities and doing your thing. But remember, or even consider, to think of it in this way. Do it as unto God. Whatever you do, it doesn't matter. There is no duality, and it doesn't matter what form of experience that you are having, and I am including all of your experiences, do it as unto God and feel His presence. Do it with love, divine love, and love the being that you are and the ones around you, and allow His love to shine through you. And as you move forward and upward, you leave more footprints in the sand for those who come after you. I tell you, your world is in a turmoil, yes, and it is because of the great changes. And it will continue to do so and be so for some time, because most individuals on your planet do not really want to change. The vibrations on your planet are, in a sense, not forcing them to, but they are changing. Everything is changing, so they have to do something. And sometimes they don't know anything else to do but go to war. This is not so bad. It is, to the physical appearance, a terrible experience, and the ones who are involved in it are not very happy about being slaughtered and maimed and killed. But my dear ones, it is just an experience, and it is something that everyone in this room and many in the balcony have already gone through. You've had this experience, and you don't need it. And those who are going through it now, those who are homeless, those who are running away from their country and trying to find something better, running away from the dictators and all of this that's going on, are looking for a better life. Now you who have taken some of the classes here and others who have taken classes elsewhere have some tools to work with. You have some understanding. You have some light in your consciousness. Be not satisfied with what you have, but reach out for more, for there will always be more to learn. There will always be more to grow into. And yes, we will have angel messages for children and for parents and for many other things. For I tell you, God is abundant, and He is continually becoming more abundant, because life is continually expanding and bursting into more of itself, and He is life. He is growing just as you are growing, my dear ones. He is growing through His expressions. And I tell you, those that are very close to Him are mighty, mighty souls, shining, shining beings. And their souls, my dear ones, are as bright and as large, and maybe even larger than your sun. And there are many other suns that are larger than your sun. Think what a wonderful experience they are having. This awaits you, but much, much in between now and when you get to that place of consciousness is very, very beautiful and wonderful. Let your life that God has given you be a beautiful, wonderful experience. Mold and shape it into a beautiful thing through your thoughts. Train your mind so that you think only beautiful, loving thoughts. then your life is beautiful, because that is truly where you do live, is in your consciousness, and your thoughts, and your concepts, and your feelings, your moods, your attitudes. That's where you are. And this planet is just a play on a stage, and you're playing the role that you truly live in how you handle it, how you react to it. And everyone is a little different, so we have to have a lot of different things happening all at once. And a lot of different things are happening on your planet, and it is for the need of those who need those different experiences to grow through, because they are different. And you need the experience that you have drawn to you, that's right in front of you. Whatever is right in front of you is what you need. Many would not want to hear this because they don't like what is right in front of them. But I helped Don Weldon to write the article that you read before class. And you see, it is to get the attention of those who are looking for a better life. And it was written in that way so that they might break through to the understanding that they do not have to be disturbed about what is right in front of them. They do not have to be disturbed about what others are doing, or even what they are doing or thinking. When they awaken, that, oh, this is just a play, this is just a movie, and the movie will be over. The play will be over, and the movie and the characters in it are all me. You see, my dear ones, you draw to you those individuals that you can look into and see yourself. You draw to you the experiences that you can look into and see what's inside of you. Otherwise, you would be blinded to where you are in your level of consciousness. And I tell you, you cannot move higher in consciousness until you see and understand where you are. But then you know what's a change within yourself as you look at the world, as you look outside yourself, and this disturbs you and this upsets you, and you really don't like what this is doing on. What do you do about it? You look inside yourself and see what's going on in your thinking patterns that you're probably not even conscious of. But you have the tools now to be able to do that. You've been given them because you have asked for a better life. You have opened the door by coming to class. You have opened the door by making that first call. And it all is waiting for you to move into it, my dear ones. But you have to take the first step right in front of you. Those things that are right in front of you that are bugging you, that may be irritating you, that you don't like about somebody or some situation or the government or whatever, it doesn't matter. Look in yourself and learn to allow. Even allow yourself to be irritated by it so that you can see that you have a misconception inside yourself. And this misunderstanding about the laws of life is what is ruffling your feathers, as the article said, is what is making you frustrated and unhappy. No matter how small the irritation or how large it is, take note of it, because you are the pilgrims for this new age. You truly are. You are making the footprints in the sand for others to follow. And there are many, many to come after you. This is not putting pressure on you, my dear ones. No. You're doing the best that you can, the best that you know how. And we love you for it. But as you become more enthused, and as you begin to see the light more brighter, you want to rush ahead. But be sure that you cover all the bases. Be sure that you build that foundation strong and solid before you try to rush on to the next step. And if you do rush on to the next step and have to back up, that's all right. Everything is all right. In the rules of life, everything is all right. There is no good or evil. There is no duality. When the world awakens to this, when each individual awakens to it, this gives you freedom. The freedom to be whatever you are and love yourself for it. Whatever you're doing, whatever level of consciousness that you're on, when you see and understand that you are an eternal spiritual being that cannot be extinguished, and that turns loose the fear of death or the fear of lack, and that gives you your freedom, because this fear of lack, fear of death, is the thing that is disturbing, is the largest thing that disturbs the individuals on your planet and causes the war. But in the process of the play that goes on, they have the opportunity to learn. Maybe they don't learn it this incarnation. That's all right. You see, in this game, everything is all right. For a society who has so many rules and regulations and thou shalt nots, this doesn't sound right. But as you reach the level of consciousness where you can accept the world as it is, where you can accept others as they are, and even yourself as you are, and say, it's all right. I feel this disturbance in here. Now I'm going to take a look, and I'm going to ask for help with more light to see the truth, to understand it, and bring it to my conscious awareness so that I can help the child within me, the subconscious, to replace that old pattern with a better way. Life is a wonderful and beautiful experience when you allow it to be. Other questions or comments that you would make this evening?
Then a question on the people that you mentioned, the people that come into our lives are there for a purpose and for a reason, and that we need to deal with what's right in front of us, and that when we see something possibly that irritates us about ourselves, that we need to look within. So is it that we are recognizing within this other person a failing in ourselves that we need to deal with?
let us not call it a film. See, that is the duality concept. But let us call it a misunderstanding. Yes, a misunderstanding about life. And to realize that you really do not have to be upset or disturbed about anything. Now, this is going a long way when a parent has a baby that is killed, but when they truly understand that the child, that entity did not come to live but a short time, that was its plan. And that's the best thing for it. And that your children are truly not your children. See, they belong to God and to life. They belong to themselves. Nobody owns anyone else. And no one has a right to infringe on others except your children when they are learning how to live in the society that they're born into. You have to show them a few things, but always, always do it with love. Now, there's more to your question. Would you repeat it, or girl?
I think what I need to know to understand more is pulling us the point of no one has the right to infringe on another thing, to develop more specifics, say there's someone that their particular life is one that is very strong, and they are quite used to having their say be what is follows, and by doing so they are infringing upon others and either preventing the others from doing as they would desire.
What? Will you allow me to interrupt you?
Sure.
Because you, my dear Vaughn, this is a misunderstanding on your part.
Okay.
They have a strong will to infringe on other people's rights, is what you said. Really, go back to your second class in the self-hypnosis class. What was the most important thing in there? Or the third one? All suggestion is what?
That's suggestion.
Yes. And no one can force themselves onto you unless you open the door for it. You see?
Okay. So if someone disagrees, if I were to disagree with the way someone else is treating me, that's because I allowed it to happen in the first place.
You do not have to be in their presence.
Right. Like, okay, I have something to share here that might be helpful because that's an issue in my life very much. And one of the things I found out with me was that I was opening the door because I was trying to please that person. Or, and ultimately maybe I was hungry to be loved by that person.
Yes.
And so what I have found is that if I do what's right for me, and I center myself and go within and decide within myself what a good course of action for me is, then if somebody else is displeased with that, so be it.
Yes. As the Shakespeare said, this above all, to thine own self be true. And by doing this, you cannot be untrue to anyone. If someone tries to convert you to their way of thinking, let them try, unless you do not wish to be in their presence any longer. You see, you do not have to accept other individuals' suggestions, and you do not have to be a doormat. You do not have to please anyone. When you learn the law of love, when you love yourself, then you'll always be true to yourself. And by loving yourself, you'll be able to love others no matter what they're doing and give them the freedom to do it, but not allow them to tread upon you or anything like that. But if, for example, the battered wife that does not sign the complaint, why does she not sign the complaint? Because she wants that experience. She is afraid that she will not be taken care of. She is insecure. And she has to have that experience over and over until she is beaten down so far sometimes that she has to give up and say, there must be a better way. Now, none of you are going to allow that, but that is just one example, and you can bring it down to finer points. Okay. Yes, it is the interesting thing that you say you allow something in your life because you want their love. If they cannot accept you as you truly are, then they do not know how to love.
I had something I wanted to add because that was my comment too, and I think that in the past, and probably some I still do, it's the fear of not being accepted or the fear of not being loved that would lead me to give up a little piece of myself to please somebody else. But I think that merely acting to my own fear, because if I can reason through it and backtrack on that and do what's right for me, more often than not, I don't lose their love anyway.
That's correct.
I gain their love and their respect.
And their respect. You see, no one really respects you by you letting them take advantage of you. And they don't love you. But more than that, they don't respect you either. Now, we're talking about relationships here more than anything else, aren't we not? Yes. And it is the same in the whole planet. It's relationships in this way with your children, with your neighbors, with country and another country. And this is the thing that plagues your world and keeps it from being more peaceful. And what it comes down to is the fear of lack in the guise of the lack of complete communication. You see, when you use your language, everyone has a different meaning for different words. And so when you say this and you say that, and somebody misunderstands, and they are disturbed or you are disturbed, when it was just a misunderstanding. Action speaks louder than words. And by learning to love, no matter what the other individual is doing or saying, and allow them to be themselves, and love them without letting them infringe upon your rights, you will find that all things work together for good to those who love the Lord, is the way the Bible puts it. But also it means to love yourself because you are the Lord. You are God.
Thank you. That really clarifies the issue. I like to
Are there other thoughts or questions this evening?
Because I had a comment about what happened for me last week. Just to counter, not get real specific, but to say that I had a tremendous amount of anxiety about things that were happening in my life and my present situation, and it all seems to come to a head last Tuesday. And I was frustrated with my situation. But I found that after I let it come to a head and I went with the flow, and instead of really resisting it and harboring some resentment, I was able to talk. What I did is I brought it up at a dinner conversation with my family, my sister who I live with, and other people that were sitting around the dinner table, and I found that I got all my anger and frustrations out in a very healthy way. And I found that we all discussed together some actual concrete changes that would smooth out the situation for everybody involved. And there were quite a few people, adults involved, and possibly some children too. And the adults did discuss everything, and I found that some real positive changes came out of my frustration and my anxiety. So it was a teacher to me.
Yes. And you see, what you did was set aside your frustrations and anxiety when you communicated at the dinner table in a relaxed atmosphere,
Right.
did you not?
Right.
And then you can really communicate much easier, much more complete, instead of just letting the anger come out.
Right.
So many parents punish their children for something they think they've done wrong, and the children do not get the message of what they've done wrong or what they should do. All they get is the anger. And they grow up with constant fear and know not what to do. And so this comes out in a destructive way for some children. And when you're able to set aside the frustrations and the anger and allow yourself to be at peace, then communicate in peace and love, everything worked out, didn't it?
It should be.
Yeah.
And I found for me, what I communicated was not what I felt was wrong with the situation, because that would have been judging the situation and other people. I communicated what I was feeling inside. And it worked beautifully because instead of attacking other people, I got like they had empathy for the way I felt, and then I listened to how they felt, and then we worked it out. It just worked wonderful to just communicate my own feelings that I wanted to say. I was scared to do it in such an honest and straightforward way. I was scared to do it, but I kind of swallowed and did it anyway, and it worked out.
Yes. And you know, one way that you can do it is to say, I want to apologize for having some disturbing thoughts and feelings, because I know that I have these because I did not understand. And then if you explain, as you did, how you felt, you see, you're not putting them on the defensive. You are apologizing in a sense, but you're not putting yourself down either. You're just saying what is.
Right.
Yes.
After
And being honest. Are there other thoughts or questions this evening? As we move in to a higher consciousness, we learn to hold our tongue much of the time until we can speak with love. We learn to hold our actions even until we can release the tensions that have been built up through misunderstanding. You only have tensions because of misunderstanding. When you feel that you have to act a certain way around other people or act a certain way in a group, and you don't feel comfortable acting that way, you're going to bring tensions to yourself. And this is a misunderstanding, because when you learn to truly be true to yourself, you can be natural when you learn to love. But when you act and communicate out of fear, this brings the disturbance on both sides, or many sides, and this is what happens in the countries. They are acting out of fear that they fear a black, that they won't receive their land, enough land, or they won't receive enough rights and all of this. When if they can set aside their fears and sit down and communicate in love, then there's an abundance of everything for everyone, and there's no need for anyone to have black in any way. I'm not teaching it.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Oh.
The world is in a turmoil at this time because of the changes, as we said. But be not concerned about this. Just keep sending love into the world and into yourself. And I intended to say to you about your personal experience. When you waited, you probably sent love into it before you spoke at the dinner table. If you didn't, well, remember the next time to send love into yourself and to everyone concerned, and fill the room to overflowing with divine love, and ask for the angels of light and understanding to be present, and ask for your guardians to speak through you, to you in what you say and how you say it. It's not always what you say that makes a difference, but it's how you say it. When you say it with anger, it comes out in a much different way than when you say it with love.
Do you think how true to think that when we open our heart and our mouth at the same time,
Yes.
how much can be accomplished?
Yes.
And another thought I had studied there is, how many lessons we get as families, or amongst our family, our friends, our loved ones. We get lessons in human relations and how to love one another, how to cooperate, how to live with one another, and how to keep our own boundaries. And those very simple lessons can be applied on a global scale.
Yes,
It can be applied to country, to politics.
Now, one thing I'd like to add to what you said is how to accept others. Yeah, how to accept them as they are, knowing that they are doing the best they can at the moment. And when you can love them, regardless of what they're doing, and show that love, then it can help maybe to calm the situation. At least it does within you, for you do live within yourself, within your consciousness. You think of living with a family, but each one of those individuals in your family and in your life represents something within you. There are no accidents or coincidences. There is no coincidence that you're with the people that you're with. It is something that you've drawn to you and that has been planned for your growth and their growth as well. But all you have to think about is your growth if you use love and give others freedom to be. Much has been said in this class that can be used with great value. Take it into your hearts and take it into your day, and try not to rush ahead of yourself. Take your steps through your day in a relaxed and peaceful way, and do everything that you do with love and as unto God. Even if it's another individual, your work that you do, just driving down the road, it doesn't matter. You do it as unto God, and the life that He has given you will be brighter and more beautiful. God bless you, each and every one, and I love you dearly. Good evening.
Your hat bless you, I keep with con.